Let's go. Hey guys, hey, it's Zaylee Barkley of ZayleeBarkley.com. I am the creator of the Start to Grow Video Academy. And let me tell you something. This past few months has been so crazy as an online business owner. I feel like there aren't a lot of conversations about how different business is now. So when I say now, I mean, we were in the middle of a pandemic, and I feel like business has been so crazy since, we're not even like, I wouldn't say we're all the way through it or done with it because it's very much still very present. The world has definitely changed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But I feel like life has just changed for everyone. But it's a really huge shift for online business owners as well. In the middle of the whole pandemic, content became, I feel like, bigger than it's ever been. People turn to YouTube for their fill of, entertainment or their fill of learning or knowledge or so many things, right? People really leaned on content. And for content creators, that just meant, hey, pump out more content. For most content creators and online business owners, they made more money within the pandemic. And so that resulted in huge booms of business growth and all of that jazz. So things have definitely shifted. Now, of course, it's more than likely a shift for the better, but there's also that shift of you're just doing much more as an online business owner or as a content creator because of that business growth that happened. Now, kudos to everyone that was able to grow and really excel, and you still have a chance of doing that. But there's so much discomfort that comes along with that financial comfort that you are able to accomplish. And today I'm going to get a little bit genuine and just share a little bit about what that's like and just thoughts that I've been having. And it's funny because in creating this video, I didn't even think that that might have been the reason for that feeling. And so, I just got on camera and I kind of prefaced with that, which I'm kind of glad for because that's a bit of therapy there for me, right? Sometimes when we talk about things, we just are able to process them. So maybe all of these things are not a result of business growth during the pandemic, but it sure can, right? The world is changing. Everyone is going through that great resignation. Not everyone, but so many people are or have decided to no longer work for someone else because they experienced working from home. A lot of people hustled on the side. So many things have been going on, but there have also been just other thoughts that have been swirling through my mind, which may or may not be connected to that. However, the first thing for me, so like I said before, this is an honest video of a few things that I have been kind of growing through recently because I realized that I was going through a bit of creator burnout, which is why I started talking about that before. But on top of creator burnout, man, like life is just changing. And it's not only due to us going through a pandemic. I've had my business for a few years before that happened. And so I'm also on that natural trajectory of, or realistic trajectory of business growth. And so as business grows and changes, there's so much to learn as you go along. So, the first thing that I've been kind of processing for the past few months is understanding that there are specific seasons that you go through in your business. Sometimes that season might be I'm going to bog down and create foundation for my business, right? I'm going to take my time, maybe for the next year or the next 6 months to a year, and figure out my team, what it is I really want to do, how I want to serve my people. And so in that time, you may not be focused on revenue, right? You may not be focused on making all the money. And I think a lot of us just try to do all of these things at the same time. I think that there's such a notion out there of, start your business today and make $1 million tomorrow, that a lot of us get into that mode of doing all of those things. We don't think realistically. And I know I made this mistake when I first started. I just felt like everything should have happened at the same time instead of thinking about it as, listen, you are going to have specific growth goals, or you should have specific growth goals. And you can't do everything at the same time unless you have a team. And a lot of times we're in the online space looking at people who have huge, amazing teams and everything just working and flowing for them. The other thing is just knowing that, yeah, you might be in a season of revenue, right? So you might be in a season of selling and making lots of money and all of that stuff. But just taking the time to pause and ask yourself, what season am I in, is really, really important, right? The next thing that I've been thinking about a lot is just knowing that focus, or realizing that um, you're not in focus. Wait, no, let me get this right. First of all, let me start with the story. So, my partner Rio was focusing me on my camera the other day, right? And so I am looking at him focusing me. So, he's where you guys are. And I'm looking at the monitor right here to see when I'm in focus so I could tell him, yep, you got it, right? Because this monitor is bigger than that tiny screen on the camera. And what happened in that moment was he had to get out of focus and then start inching that focus ring in order to see when I might be in focus. But you have to defocus in order to get focused. And so sometimes we don't appreciate that time or moment that we're having in life where I just can't see. I can't see past this season. I can't see past this moment. I can't see past this quarter. I can't see past this week. I can't see past today. But that moment of not of that cloudiness or brain fog or lack of clarity is so needed in order for us to understand what clarity actually looks like. And so it kind of made me just step back and appreciate the fact that, and I think that is crazy because I feel like when you surrender to, you know what, I'm not clear and that's okay. I'm going to just really sit in this clarity that I don't have, and invite clarity when it feels like coming. I think that allows you to be clear rather than struggling and being frustrated because you're not clear. So that for me has been a bit of a lesson as well, and that's really hard, right? But yeah, sometimes it's a bit of acknowledgement there. Okay, speaking of focus, listen, I kind of just touched on this, but now that everyone is in that space of consumption and we're looking at all the things that are going on the internet and everyone doing this and that and all of those things, it's easy for us to feel like we have to focus on what everyone else is doing. And that kind of contributes to you being confused about where you are in your own process. And I speak about this all the time with my Start Shoot Grow Academy members. I was reading a book. Wow, I just got really passionate. But I was reading a book recently about Facebook ads. And in this book, the person said, I can't remember his name. I feel so horrible. But he said, there is no way that you can focus on being a consumer on Facebook and being a creator on Facebook. He didn't say it in that way, but I like to talk about consumption and creation. You have to get out of consumption mode in order to create. You have to probably get out of creator mode. You can't be in creator mode if you're consuming only. So he said, before you go further in this book, you need to delete all the apps off of your phone. And I was like, sir, yes, please guide my fingers. Let me just delete them. Because when we're focusing on what everyone else is doing, it's kind of impossible to focus on what you have to put out there as a creator. And so, I mean, it's important to pay attention to trends and what's going on in industry, but just the general consumption of that 5 hours a day scrolling on your phone is just really insane when you think about it. And I kind of feel like our bodies will pay for that later on in life in some way, because I don't think we're meant to be just hunched over, or is that just me, on your phone for hours? But just thinking about things like that is really, 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 really important. Like, think about that goes back to your season. Are you in a creation season? Are you in a consumption season? Like, what are you in specifically? And don't get me wrong, consumption can be helpful because sometimes when I look at YouTube videos, I'm inspired and I'm inspired to create. So, that can be a thing in itself as well. Like this morning, I was watching Ali Abdal. He was sharing about updates that have been going on with him. And that kind of sparked me to create this video based on, just how I've been feeling. So his was a bit different, but I knew that there were some things that I've been feeling lately that I kind of wanted to share as well. So, what to do when you don't know what you're doing? Man, that one is, so I just brainstormed a bunch of things that I feel like I've been going through. Listen, when you are growing a business, there are spaces and phases that you go through that you really, there's no answer, which is why having a coach is so important. Because I know for me, I have 3 coaches, and I could not even proceed through growing through some of the things that I'm growing through without the help of these coaches. So even going through a program or a coach, you guys know how passionate I am, because I also have programs as well. And so if your coach don't have a coach, something is kind of off there, right? But that is really important. Understanding in life where you need support, and actually, diving into that support, and understanding that you need to be supported. And that kind of leads me to hiring. Oh my gosh. I feel like last year I had a full blown team, and then I had to really just declutter everything and kind of burn everything down to start over again. And there was a time in my life that I would completely beat myself up for that. But I will tell you, I have so much clarity now that it's crazy. And so I've started rebuilding team again. I'm super excited. I have an amazing new program coming out. Super excited about that. So there are times where you won't know what you're doing. And so sometimes that requires just being still and stopping. And then the answers will start flowing in. But also building a team just reminds me that the places that I know that I'm going, I cannot possibly go alone. So I can't go without you guys. So thank you for being here. And I also can't go without having a support system with me. So really excited about that. I think that as you grow bigger, so this is like point number 6 or 7, I don't know where we are right now. Um, when you start growing, you're always going to be thinking about, well, how do I sustain this growth? Can I do this again next year? I think a lot of coaches out there tell you, well, you know what? Like, I'm running this multi 6-figure business. But listen, there's also I think everybody that just goes through that, like, is this going to carry through? Is this going to last? Can I do this again next year? Can I do bigger and better next year? There are moments where you're going to have doubts about what you're doing. And I think that it's really important to acknowledge those doubts and always start working backwards. So, that's where you have to redefine your goals and look around and see, how am I creating systems, or how am I acting in a way that supports that? So that is something scary that you go through when you're growing as well, like super scary. But yeah, are you guys still with me? If you're still with me at this moment, I definitely would love for you, to let me know down below. Zaylee, I made it to this mark in the video, right? So let me see. Let's find a word that we can share for this mark. You know what? Put Brooklyn in the comments, because I have a picture that my partner drew that says Brooklyn in front of me. So put Brooklyn in the comments if you've gotten this far into the video. The next thing is figuring out what you've overgrown. Is it overgrown? No, outgrown. Figuring out what you've outgrown and what no longer serves you. Man, that's a huge one. And that includes services that you might have been offering before, products that you feel like you've outgrown, customers, clients, partnerships, all of those things. Nothing is wrong with asking yourself, does this still feel good to me? And I had to ask myself that a few times this year. Even as I was going into Q4, I had some things that were planned and I was super excited about, but I just felt also that, man, is this a round peg that I've been trying to fit into a square hole kind of thing? I don't know. But I really had to reevaluate and start asking myself, like, what excites you? What inspires you? Like, just really going back to why I started my business and what really lights me up. Okay, so number 8 is one that, it's kind of like connected to what I was just saying, right? So number 8 is wondering if you're allowed to grow, right? And change, and if the audience that you've grown over the years is okay growing with you. And I feel like when you're in the online space, this one is like really scary, because it's like you've amassed thousands of followers or subscribers, and I can even imagine for bigger accounts, like, oh my gosh. And so it's like you're on this path for years. You've connected with so many people, you've built relationships with so many people, all the things, and then you feel yourself changing as a person. It's kind of like today I was going through Instagram and I saw someone say, and this person spoke like on surgery all the time, like, surgery is the best thing, and I don't have a problem with surgery at all, but it kind of really like I don't know. It just really, my brain was like, whoa. When I was reading it, she was saying that if she had known that she would grow into her body, she would have never gotten surgery, right? And this is like the second person that I've seen say that. And I say all that to say, like, surgery was something that she championed. And so now in her own growth journey, and I'm sure that she's inspired thousands of people. This is this rapper, Sukiana. I don't know if you've ever heard about her. I know she's inspired thousands of people to get surgery. And now she's saying, man, I wish I would have waited to hit a certain age to get surgery. And it's kind of like, man, is how is her audience going to react to her saying that? And I'm sure she's inspired them in some way. And what if now she feels differently and she wants to change like her messaging? And man, like, you think about things like that because we are all growing human beings. And so for me, like, I always pray for an audience that is looking to grow with me and not just stuck in one box of, I only like this aspect of Zalian. I've been there, and I'll tell you how I've been there. I had locks for years, and then one day I cut them off, and I lost so many people on social because I had cut my locks. And that to me was very like, man, I don't think I want to ever hardcore connect myself to something physical like that. And I could be wrong. Maybe it's just me processing in that way, but oh my gosh, that taught me like a lot, a lot. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of scary, growing a huge audience and then you change. And I see it happening to so many people, even bigger online business owners. Listen, people are really going through real life things. And I think that one way for us to mediate that would be to just genuinely say that, like, yo, I'm a person and I'm growing through so much. So if you're here to grow with me, I'm super thankful. I think, being afraid of that, it's kind of like you started teaching about makeup and now you don't like makeup anymore. And you've built a 6-figure business on your makeup platform. Like, man, like, I feel like also the creator economy is also moving into that 9-to-5 structure. I have so many thoughts, but anyway. The next one is being afraid of saying the wrong thing in fear of cancel culture or being canceled. Yes, you experience that when you have a platform, just like that girl that spoke about surgery. Whoa, is her audience going to cancel her now? Or are thousands of other people, right, the cancel community, are they going to cancel her now because they know that she's encouraged lots of people to have surgery? Oh my gosh, like, it's so much. It's so action or jam-packed when you think about these topics. And sometimes I shy away from speaking about specific topics because I'm like, well, I don't want to talk about that because I feel like one, maybe I'm not qualified. And I know it's crazy for you watching to hear me talk about this in that way, but it's true. Like, as much as I tell you, listen, get on camera, be confident. I'm also always going through my own cycle or, my own framework for what I teach. And if I wasn't, then I wouldn't be qualified to teach it, right? I know how you feel because I'm a human and I go through the same things as well. But sometimes you are afraid to touch on specific topics for the fear of, what people might say or people canceling you or, it's a lot, guys. We live in a jam-packed world. Also, maintaining relationships in the online space, that has been really hard for me, especially as an introvert, especially as a person that's very genuine. And I've experienced relationships that weren't genuine, that I thought were genuine. It's a lot. And keeping up with those people in the online space, but also balancing not being on social because I'm in a creative space. It's a lot. Social media is a lot, which is why I preach being intentional about your content and what you're putting out there in order to support your online business. Because there are so many things that are detractors that can get us completely confused. And then the last thing is just overcoming perfectionism. And I think as you go through each level, man, that is like something that I'm always thinking about. Like, where am I stopping myself because I'm trying to be perfect or trying to do or execute this thing perfectly? This year, I've given myself so much grace as it pertains to perfectionism because perfectionism used to keep me back. Okay. It was horrible. And so as soon as you start releasing that, I don't know, like everything just changes. But listen, guys, I am not going to ramble on any longer. I've been on here for a long while. Let me know which one of these do you relate to? Which one of these have you been feeling, or how have you been feeling lately? Let's do a mental health check in together down in the comments. Let me know how you've been feeling, and let me know if any of these kind of resonate with you. All right, guys, I love you, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.